I want to start with something that might surprise you. The word vibration, in personal development circles, has become almost meaningless. It gets thrown around. Raise your vibration, high vibe only, match your frequency, and because it gets thrown around, without anyone actually explaining what it means, a lot of intelligent, practical people dismiss it. They hear the word, and they think, here we go. Another vague spiritual concept. Wayne Dyer was not a vague person. He was a psychologist, he was a researcher, he was someone who demanded that ideas be grounded in something real, something teachable, something that could actually change a person's life. And he taught about vibration, not as metaphor, not as spiritual shorthand, but as a precise description of how the human experience actually works. Here is the precise description. Everything in the physical world is energy. This is not philosophy, this is physics. At the subatomic level, every particle of matter is in constant motion. Every atom vibrates, every cell in your body vibrates. And because you are a collection of cells, you vibrate. Your thoughts are electrochemical events in the brain. Measurable, detectable, they generate electromagnetic fields. Your emotions are physiological states. Cortisol, adrenaline, serotonin, oxytocin. All of these are molecules that alter the electrical environment of your cells. Different emotional states produce measurably different physiological environments. Fear, resentment, shame, chronic anxiety. These generate specific neurochemical signatures that make the body more stressed, more reactive, more inflammatory. Gratitude, love, genuine joy, purposeful engagement. These generate different signatures. Different hormones, different nervous system states, different cellular environments. Wayne Dyer's teaching on vibration was a teaching on emotional and physiological environment, on the internal climate you create, and his fundamental observation was this: the internal climate you generate, through your habitual thoughts, your dominant emotions, your practiced beliefs, is the single most powerful determinant of what you experience in your life. Not your circumstances, your internal climate, because your internal climate determines what you notice, what you attract, how you respond, what you create, what becomes possible. This is what he meant by vibration. And in this video, we are going to go deep into all three components of what he called the complete transformation: raising your vibration, awakening your purpose, and building the resilience that makes the transformation sustainable. These three things are not separate. They work together, they build on each other. And by the end of this video, you will have a complete, practical framework for working with all three. Let's begin. Psychiatrist David Hawkins, whom Wayne Dyer referenced extensively in his work, spent decades developing what he called a map of consciousness. A scale from the lowest measurable human emotional states to the highest. I want to walk you through the key levels, because understanding where you are on this scale is the first step to moving. The lowest measurable levels, shame, guilt, apathy, grief, are states where human potential is most suppressed. People in chronic shame do not believe they deserve good things, and so they do not pursue them, and so their lives confirm the belief. It is a self-reinforcing loop. The mid-range levels, fear, desire, anger, pride, are where most people spend most of their time. Fear, something bad might happen. Desire, I need more to be okay. Anger, this is not fair and I am going to resist it. Pride, I am better than that because I have more. These are not inherently bad states, but as default operating frequencies, they generate a specific kind of life. Fear-based living creates a narrowed world. Desire-based living creates perpetual dissatisfaction. Anger-based living creates conflict. Pride-based living creates fragility. The transition point, the level that Hawkins identified as pivotal, is courage. Courage is the level at which a person begins to take responsibility for their own life. I may not have control over everything, but I have choice, and I choose. Above courage, neutrality, I am okay regardless of outcomes. Willingness, I am open to what life offers. Acceptance, what is, and I meet it honestly. Reason, I understand, and I choose wisely. And above reason, the states that Wayne Dyer lived and taught from: love, joy, peace, not as emotions that arrive and leave, as baseline orientations, as the default frequency from which a person generates their experience. Here's what Dyer added to Hawkins' framework. He said the goal is not to reach the highest level and stay there perpetually. That is not realistic. That is not human. The goal is to raise your average, to shift your default, so that fear visits, but does not live there. Anger passes through, but does not set up camp. And gratitude, love, peace, visit more frequently. Stay longer. Become more and more the home you return to. That is the project, not perfection. A raised average. Now let's talk about how to raise it. Before we can raise the vibration, we need to understand why it is low. Because most people's default vibration is not low because they chose it. It is low because it was installed. Through experiences, through environments, through repetition. Here's how it works. The brain is a prediction machine. Its primary job is not to think. Its primary job is to predict what is about to happen, and prepare the body accordingly. And it makes predictions based on past experience. This is efficient. It saves enormous energy, but it has a serious drawback. If your past experiences have included enough threat, enough unpredictability, enough pain, loss, rejection, or failure, your brain will have updated its prediction model to expect more of the same. And once that model is updated, the brain begins to see threat and danger, even in neutral situations. A tone of voice becomes a threat. A slight delay in a text reply becomes rejection. A setback becomes evidence of fundamental inadequacy. An uncertain future becomes catastrophe. These are not conscious choices. They are automatic predictions, based on the installed model, and the body responds to the prediction with the physiology of threat. Cortisol, adrenaline, elevated heart rate, narrowed perception, activated fight or flight. That physiological state is what low vibration actually feels like from the inside. It is not weakness. It is not failure. It is an intelligent system that learned the wrong lesson. A system that learned the world is threatening. Stay alert. Stay defended. Expect the worst. And that lesson, while it may have been adaptive at a particular time in your life, is running the show long past its usefulness. Wayne Dyer's work was essentially the project of teaching the nervous system a new lesson. Not that the world is perfectly safe. Not that bad things never happen. But that you are capable of meeting whatever comes. That you are resourced enough to navigate difficulty. That you do not need to be perpetually defended. That it is safe to be open, to be present without a shield. That is the work of raising the vibration, not telling yourself to be positive, giving your nervous system consistent new evidence that a different way of being is possible, safe, and available. Here are the 5 specific practices that Wayne Dyer taught for raising your vibration. Not abstract concepts, specific, daily, doable practices. Practice 1. Gratitude as a physical practice. Not as a concept, not as a thought exercise. As a physical, felt, embodied practice. Every morning, before you get out of bed, before you check your phone, you identify one thing that you are genuinely grateful for. And then you feel it. You let the feeling become physical. A warmth in the chest, a softening of the breath, a genuine sense of, this is good. You stay with it for 30 seconds. This activates the parasympathetic nervous system, releases serotonin, signals to the brain. There is something good here. Look for more, and the brain, being the prediction machine it is, begins to look for more. And it finds more, because the world genuinely has more than most of us notice. We are just not looking for it until we prime the brain to look. Practice 2. Movement with intention. Not just exercise. Movement with intentional awareness. When you move your body consciously, feeling the physical sensations, the muscles, the breath, the contact with the ground, you shift out of the thinking mind into the sensing body. And the sensing body is naturally lower anxiety because it is present, and anxiety lives in the future. 10 minutes of intentional movement, walking, stretching, any form, every morning, measurably shifts the emotional baseline. Practice 3. Language audit. Your words are vibration, literally. They are sound waves, frequencies, and the words you habitually use. About yourself, about your life, about what is possible, set the internal climate. I am exhausted, right pointing arrow try, I have been working hard and I need to rest. Nothing works for me, right pointing arrow try, I am still finding my way. I can't do this, right pointing arrow try, I haven't learned this yet. These are not just wordplay. They are genuine shifts in the story your brain is telling. And the story your brain tells determines the predictions it makes. And the predictions determine the physiology. And the physiology is the vibration. Practice 4. Deliberate appreciation. Once per day. Find one person in your life, and genuinely appreciate something specific about them. Tell them, or write it in a journal if telling is not accessible. But be specific, not, "You are great. The way you listened to me last week when I was struggling, that meant more to me than you know." Deliberate appreciation activates the same neurological reward pathways as receiving appreciation, and it directs your attention toward what is good in your relational world. Strengthening the vibration of connection. Practice 5. Daily contribution. One small thing every day, done for someone other than yourself. Not a grand gesture, not a sacrifice, a small, genuine contribution. Holding a door, saying something kind to someone who seems like they need it, sharing something useful without being asked. This shifts the internal orientation from receiving to giving. And giving, as Wayne Dyer taught consistently, is one of the most reliable vibration-raising practices available to a human being. Because it signals, "I have enough to give. I am resourced. I am not in scarcity." And the subconscious, hearing that signal daily, begins to update its model. These 5 practices, every day, starting tomorrow, that is how you raise the average. The second component of the complete transformation is purpose. Not finding your purpose, awakening it. The distinction matters. Finding implies that purpose is hidden somewhere, and you need to search for it. That it is external, that it will arrive one day, if you are patient enough or clever enough. Awakening implies something different. It implies that purpose is already within you, that it was there before the world got to you, that what has happened over time is not that you lost it, but that layers were placed on top of it, and it became harder to hear. Wayne Dyer used the word inspiration deliberately. From the Latin inspiritus, in spirit, he said, when you feel genuinely inspired, not excited, not motivated, not driven, but genuinely inspired, you are in contact with your purpose, and that feeling is recognizable. You know it when you feel it. It is the feeling of time disappearing, of being fully absorbed, of doing something and thinking, "Yes, this is real, this is me." The problem is that most people are so busy, so scheduled, so perpetually responding to what other people need from them, that they never have the silence required to hear the purpose speaking. Wayne Dyer's framework for awakening purpose has 4 specific components. Component 1, the childhood recall. Before anyone told you what was practical, before anyone graded your interests, before school shaped you into what was useful, what did you love? What did you do for hours without being told to? What topics did you read about without being assigned? What games did you play that felt most like you were being most fully yourself? This is not nostalgia. This is archaeology. You are digging back to the original signal, the one that was there before the world overlaid its preferences. Component 2, the disappearing time question. Right now, in your current life, what activity makes time disappear for you? Not what you are good at, not what people pay you for, not what you think you should find meaningful. What actually makes you lose track of time? That is not random. That is your nervous system's way of telling you, here, this is where I am most alive. Component 3, the unsolicited call. What do people come to you for, without you advertising it? What do friends ask your opinion on? What do strangers seem to find their way to telling you? What expertise did you develop, not through formal training, but through genuine, relentless interest? That unsolicited calling is purpose made visible in relationship. Component 4, the no judgment question. If money were not a factor, and no one whose opinion you cared about would ever find out, what would you spend your days doing? Not forever, not as a permanent answer. Just, if those 2 constraints were removed, what would you actually choose? The answer to that question, when you can give it honestly, without immediately dismissing it as impractical, is the direction your purpose is pointing. You do not need to immediately quit everything and follow it, but you need to start pointing in that direction, even 1 hour per week, even 15 minutes per day, because purpose does not suddenly arrive. It is gradually revealed, through consistent movement toward it. The more time you spend in alignment, even briefly, even partially, the louder the signal gets. And eventually, it becomes impossible to ignore. That is the awakening. Let me take you through the 4 diagnostic questions, in a way you can actually work with right now. As you listen to this, I want you to notice what arises. Not the logical answer, not the practical answer, not the answer that sounds good. The first answer, the one that comes before the but. Question 1. What did you love doing as a child, before anyone told you what was valuable? Close your eyes if you can. Go back, Not to the achievements, not to what you were good at, to what you loved. What are you seeing? Question 2. Right now, today. What activity makes time genuinely disappear for you? Not what you think should make time disappear. What actually does. It might surprise you. It might be something you have been dismissing, because it does not fit the category of serious work. What is it? Question 3. What do people come to you for, without you having to advertise it? This is often the hardest one to see, because it is so natural to you, that it does not seem like anything special. But other people notice, they find you, they ask you about certain things. What are those things? Question 4. If the two great fears were removed, the fear of financial insecurity, and the fear of judgment, what would you spend your days doing? Write these answers down, not in your head, on paper, and then look at them together. Where do they overlap? Because where the 4 answers overlap, that is not a coincidence. That is the shape of your purpose. It might not look like a job, not yet. It might look like a direction, a quality, a kind of contribution, but it is real, it is specific, it is yours. And Wayne Dyer would tell you, do not wait for the perfect conditions to begin moving toward it. There are no perfect conditions. Begin now, with what you have, from where you are, and the path will clarify as you walk it. The third component, and the one that makes the other 2 sustainable, is resilience. Because here is the honest truth. You can raise your vibration. You can awaken your purpose. And life will still be hard. You will still face setbacks. You will still encounter people who do not understand you. You will still have periods of doubt, periods of fear, periods where everything you have been working toward seems to stall or reverse. Without resilience, those periods end the journey. With resilience, they become part of the journey. Wayne Dyer's teaching on resilience was not about becoming tougher, not about suppressing pain, not about developing an armor. It was about becoming more rooted. Imagine a tree in a storm, an oak that is rigid, breaks in high wind, a willow that is rooted but flexible, bends in the storm, all the way to the ground sometimes, and then returns to standing. Because the roots hold. Dyer's resilience teaching was about building the roots. The roots have 4 elements. Root 1. Acceptance of impermanence. Everything changes. Every good thing will change. Every difficult thing will change. The circumstances that feel permanent are not. This is not pessimism. This is the deepest comfort available. The painful season will change. The joyful season will also change. And both can be met with presence, because neither is the final state. Root 2. The practice of self-compassion. When you fail, and you will fail, the quality of how you speak to yourself, in the moment of failure, determines almost everything. Self-criticism after failure adds a second wound to the first. The failure is one thing. The relentless internal punishment that follows is another, often worse. Self-compassion says, I fell. That hurt. I am going to take care of myself right now. And then I am going to figure out what I learned. And then I am going to get up. That sequence is what resilient people do. They are not people who do not fall. They are people who have learned to take care of themselves when they do. Root 3. Meaning making. Viktor Frankl's great contribution, and Wayne Dyer's constant reference point, is that meaning can be found in any experience. Not that every experience is good, but that no experience is without meaning, if you choose to find it. What is this asking of me? What is this preparing me for? What will I know after this, that I could not have known any other way? Those questions, asked in the middle of difficulty, transform experience. Not painlessly, but transformatively. Root 4. The community of the committed. You cannot build resilience in isolation. Human beings are social animals. We are wired for connection. And resilience, the kind that actually holds under real pressure, is built in relationship. Find even one person who is doing this work, who is committed to growth, who will not let you stay stuck. That one relationship changes everything. I want to show you now why these 3 are not separate practices. They are a single, integrated system. Here is how they interact. Raised vibration makes purpose easier to hear. When you are in chronic anxiety, in fear, in low-energy survival mode, the signal of purpose is drowned out. It cannot compete with the noise. But when the vibration rises, when the default emotional climate shifts, even incrementally, the noise quiets. And in the quieter space, the signal of purpose becomes more audible. You begin to notice the things that genuinely move you, the activities that feel alive, the contributions that feel real. Purpose, in turn, raises vibration. There is nothing that raises the human vibration more reliably or more sustainably than genuine purposeful engagement. Not success, not achievement, not money, purposeful engagement, the experience of doing something that you genuinely believe matters, something that is authentically yours, something that comes from the inside out, rather than the outside in. That experience is one of the highest vibrational states available, and both vibration and purpose together build resilience, because when your vibration is high, and your sense of purpose is active, difficulty does not have the same power over you. Not because it does not hurt, but because you have a ground to return to, a context larger than the difficulty, a sense that the difficulty is part of something, not the end of something. And that context is what resilience is made of. This is the complete transformation, not three separate projects, one integrated practice, lived every day, in the choices you make, about how to use the morning window, about what you speak to yourself, about where you direct your attention, about what you move toward, and about how you meet what is hard. Here is your 30-day protocol. Week 1. Focus only on vibration. The 5 daily practices: gratitude, movement, language, appreciation, contribution, every day. Just these 5. Week 2. Add the purpose work. Spend 15 minutes each evening with the 4 diagnostic questions. Write the answers. Look for the overlap. Begin to name the direction. Week 3. Add the resilience practices. Morning self-compassion check-in. 1 meaning-making journal entry per day. 1 genuine human connection. Week 4. Integrate all 3. Notice how they amplify each other. Notice what has shifted, not in your circumstances, in your daily internal experience. At 30 days, you will not have a perfect life, but you will have a different relationship with your life. A higher average vibration, a clearer sense of direction, a more grounded capacity to meet what is hard. That is the transformation, not an event, a practice, lived every day, in the small choices, in the morning window, in the quality of your attention. I want you to answer something in the comments, not a generic response. I want your honest answer. Of the 3, vibration, purpose, or resilience, which one do you feel you are furthest from right now? Tell me specifically. 1 sentence. I will read every single comment, and the answers I see most often will shape what I create next. Because this channel grows with you, not for you, with you. Before you go, if any part of this video made you stop and think, that's not an accident. Wayne Dyer believed that the right message finds you at exactly the right moment. Maybe this was yours. If it was, hit subscribe. Not because I'm asking you to, but because there are more lessons like this one waiting for you on this channel. And you don't want to miss them. Hit the like button if this added something to your day. It takes 1 second and it helps more people find this content, people who might need it just as much as you did. And turn on notifications, so the next lesson shows up before life gets in the way. I'll see you in the next one. Don't die with your music still in you.